what is inheritance? Inheritance allow a class, which is a subclass now, a child class, to inherit attributes and method from another class, in this case a superclass. So we are going to create a savings account that inherits from the account class, so that the savings account can inherit both the attributes and what method in our account class. Okay, also write a reusable code and what creating a relationship between classes. All right, so let's now go there. So when we come to our account class, we have an account class here. We're going to create a savings account. Okay, so our savings account should be something like this. We now say class, then savings account, savings underscore account. Okay, savings, because our savings account is going to inherit, our savings account is going to inherit our from account class. So we have a parenthesis, and inside this parenthesis we are going to pass in the account class. All right, okay, we're going to pass in our account class here, so like this. So inheritance have taken place. So what we are saying is this class savings account now have access to what everything in the account class. All right, so let's go. So we can now come here and do and initialize our savings account. So we can now say del, okay, and create a constructor. So we need okay, so automatically it has inherited all the classes for us. So it's giving us the account name, account number, account balance. All right, and then calling the super, okay, the super class. When you are calling the super class, you need to call the super class parenthesis and then add your constructor from what your super class. So this is your constructor from your super class, this is the constructor from the savings account class. All right, so this is how it works. Now that we have this, now we want to add a parameter here. We want to be able to calculate the interest. So I'll say interest here, or interest rate. Let me call it interest rate, so it can declare. Okay, so let's call it interest rate. So call it interest rate. Okay, then we'll now initialize it. We'll now say we'll now reference this, sorry, not initialize, self dot interest rate, interest underscore rate, which should be equal to what interest rate. Okay, so self dot interest rate should be equal to what interest rate. All right, then we have, now that we have been able to create a savings account and then initialize a class, let's create a method that calculates the interest. Okay, so we are going to do method calculate what interest. So say calculate underscore interest. So this method will calculate our interest and add it to our class. So anytime you are calculating an interest, what do? There's no parameter, so we just need this here. Okay, like I said, it's a convention. Itself is a convention. So now let's have a variable for interest, which will be equal to our balance multiplied by, so say self dot balance, account balance. So it's going to multiply it by what? Multiply it by the interest rate. Okay, so self dot what? Interest rate. When it's calculated, you will now deposit it inside our class. So because we have inherited from the account class, we can actually use the method deposit here. So we can call the deposit method. So we do self dot what? Self dot deposit. We call the deposit method and pass in the interest that we are calculating. All right, so what we are doing is we're calculating the interest by multiplying the account balance with the interest rate. So if the interest rate is 5, for example, and our account balance is 350, for example, we now multiply 350 times what? 5. All right, then we now deposit that interest into our account, because the deposit method will what? The deposit method in our account class will add everything to our balance. Okay, so it will add everything, every amount to our to our balance. All right, so this is how the method is going to work. Now that we now have a savings account, now we can now create an object of our savings account class. So let's create an object of our savings account class. Okay, so here we're going to create an object of our savings account. So I'll call it savings. Okay, savings should be equal to savings account, and then the savings account takes the account name. So in this case, Bill Gates. Okay, let's call it Bill Gates. Then the account number is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, so this is the account number. Then what's the balance? Let's say $750, $750. All right, then okay, $750. Then the next one is what? The interest rate. So we are calculating the interest by 5, and then let's print our savings. Let's print our savings. Okay, so say savings. Okay, now let's run it and see. Our savings is 700, and our savings is 750 Bill Gates with the account number, and this is what we are getting. Now you may be wondering, why is he able to return the string method for us? Because we are inheriting from the account class, we don't need to create a new toString method. So it's still making use of what? This toString method here. So because we are inheriting everything. It's just like you and your father. Your father gave birth to you, so you inherit everything from him. His nose, the way he talks, his voice, every single thing about him. Okay, so that is that. Now we can now call the method calculate interest. We can now call the method calculate interest on our savings. So we can say savings dot what? Calculate interest. Okay, we call the method calculate interest, which did not, it doesn't take any parameter. So when we do this, let's run it and see what our interest will be. We deposited 750. So if you multiply that by 5, okay, if you multiply 750 times 5, you will have 3,750. So that's why it's telling you us that you get deposited 3,750. So our current balance now is 4,500. Okay, so this is how the savings account class works, okay, with the calculate interest method. Now, having understand inheritance, let's talk about encapsulation. What do you mean by encapsulation? Encapsulation simply means hiding of information. Okay, so in a situation where we want only some certain aspect of our class to be seen by just that class or the child class, we will have to implement what we call encapsulation. So encapsulation is the practice of hiding information, which is attributes and method, okay, that operate on our class. So for example, there is no way anybody should not have access to your account number. Okay, anybody should not have access to your account balance. Okay, it should be you and you alone. So we want to protect these two things. Okay, and that is when access modifiers comes in. So when we talk about encapsulation, we are going to be mentioning access modifiers and getters and setters. So access modifiers allow us to specify which is accessible by who and how that is accessible. Okay, so for example, we have 3 access modifier. We have the public access modifier. The public access modifier can be accessed from anywhere in the class. So take for example this all of what you are seeing here is what we call public access modifier. Why? Because it can be accessed from anywhere in the class. So we are going to modify this account class so that the account number and the balance become private and protected. Now the second one after the public, we are going to discuss is the public. We're going to discuss private access modifier. So the private access modifier is only accessed within the class. Okay, so in this case our balance should be only be accessed within this class, and what do we do is denoted by double underscore like this. Okay, this can only be accessed within this class. So even a child class cannot have access to the child class will not have access to our our account balance. All right, then the protected the protected access modifier are accessed within the class and subclass. So we want the account number to be only accessed by what? By the child class. In this case, our savings account can have access to our what? To our account number, but cannot have access to what? To the account balance. And protected is denoted by what? A single underscore. Okay, so the first one is denoted by double underscore, which is for private. The second is what? Is denoted by a single underscore, which is for what? Protected. Now let's move further. So we're going to modify this our account class so that we implement the encapsulation in this class, where we hide details of this class. So only the ones that are necessary are exposed, while the rest become not exposed. We will not do this here. We'll take it inside like this. So we'll do single underscore, which is for protected, and then double underscore for what? For private. All right, so this is it. Now that we have done this, we also need to modify. We also need to, so because we have done this, there is no way you cannot just end the attempt to get this will be throwing an error. Okay, and because it's going to throw an error, we need to modify whatever we have here. Okay, we need to modify whatever we are having here. So I'm going to change it. Okay, so let's start with the getters and setters. So for you to now have access, because it's now protected and private, we need getters and setters. The getters will get the update of our balance, while the setters will set the balance. Let's start with it. So let's set before we get. So do dev set underscore number, set account number, account underscore number. Then so the setter will take a parameter because you need to get a new update that is coming in. So we'll say new account number, new account underscore number. Okay, the parameter for the new incoming balance. So we need to assign it to our balance. So we now do self dot account number. Okay, self dot account number, it should be equal to the what? The new account number. Okay, so but now that we'll be able to get the new update with this parameter. So anytime we are setting, we'll provide a new room for the new account number. So we have set, let's get. So we need a get account number for this. Okay, account, or then just aggregate underscore number. Okay, then follow the convention and add self, and then it should return what? It should return the account number for us. Okay, return account number. Now let us also set for the balance. Okay, so the set balance will also update the balance. So something like this. So do dev set underscore balance, set underscore balance, which takes a parameter with a new balance. So say self, and then comma new balance. Okay, after new balance, you close it, a colon. Now we want to set it now. So we say self dot balance. Okay, account balance, which should be equal to new, okay, balance. All right, so anytime we call this method, it's going to get access to this and return it for us. Okay, so we now have getters and setters. Okay, so we are now going to set the getter. We're now going to create the getter method for what? For the balance. So dev get balance. So it doesn't take parameter again. It's going to return the updated balance. So it will be self dot what? Balance. Right, so this is how the getter and setter works in Python. Okay, so you need to create a getter and setter for your private and protected attributes. So now we need to modify our deposit and what? Withdrawal method. So our deposit method here, so the account balance here is already what? Need to update it. So can do underscore here. So account balance. Okay, account balance. All right, So now that we have updated the deposit method, let's also update the withdrawal method. You will now be able to see the new update and give us that. All right, so now change this also. Our balance is now a private, meaning it can only be gotten within that class. Okay, all right. So an outside class, even a shout class, cannot have access to a private modified attribute. All right. So in our account, for example, so we can use the dot get. So we can say account one. So we can call the dot get method. Say dot get account number. Okay. It doesn't take any parameter. Let's set the account number. Let's set a new account number. So I'll do HSD, then dot set. Okay, dot set account number, and then here I'm going to provide a new account number. So I'll do it 11223344556677. Okay, and then let me wrap it in a string like this. Okay, so and let's run again. So I'm setting a new account number and I'm getting that an account number I'm setting using the dot set and the dot get method. So when I run this, I should be able to see something like this. Okay, so you can see the new updated account number here. All right, so this is how this works in Python. Now we can also use the dot set for the balance. So where I say something like this, dot set balance. So I'm going to create a new amount. So what's the new balance? Okay, so the new balance is 450. Okay, $450. Then I can now get the new balance and like this, account dot what get balance. So I'll say get balance. All right, so and it doesn't take parameter. So when I run again, we should be able to see update. Okay, so you can see that it's giving us John has a new account with this amount. All right, so this is how the access modifier works in Python, where you are using the dot set to set a new update and you are using the dot get to get the new update. Okay, and this is possible because you have made attribute, you have made account attribute private. Okay, and then the balance protected. Okay, so by default any attribute is in public by default. So this name here is public. Okay, while the account number here is protected, is protected, while the balance is what is private. So, and I said that the private can only be accessed within that class alone. So even a shout class cannot have access to what, to the private attribute. Then while the protected can be accessed from both the class and the shout class. Having understand that, the last one I will explain is what, polymorphism. So think of the polymorphism like this, where Tunde is a worker, is a banker. Okay, so Tunde at home, Tunde is a father. In the job, at his office, Tunde is a colleague, and then at the party, Tunde is a rock star. So it is the same Tunde but different things everywhere. The same method of doing different things. Polymorphism refers to the ability of different objects to respond to the same message or method or in different ways. So how do we achieve that? So we are going to modify our savings account class. Okay, specifically our savings account class, so that the deposit method will modify it. Okay, we have a deposit method in our savings account. So go down to our savings account. Okay, so we don't have a deposit method here. So we are going to create. Okay, we are going to create a deposit method. So this deposit method will now be able to act as what, polymorphism. So how do we do that? So we can do def. So I can say def. Okay, deposit money. Or let me just call it deposit. I already have a deposit at the fund, but then let's see what happens. So I'll just call it deposit underscore money, and then in here I can now pass in the amount. Always remember that when you are depositing money, you have to specify the amount you are depositing. So I'll say amount. Okay, and then I'll calculate the interest. So I will have a variable. The first thing is to calculate the interest. So I will have a variable that is going to multiply. So multiply the amount by the interest rate by over 100. So we say times. Okay, then in here we now say self.interest, then divide by 100, divide by 100. All right, so now that we have done this, we say total amount, total underscore amount, okay, which is equal to amount plus interest. Okay, so this is what we are doing. All right, so we have a variable that is taking the interest and calculating it. Okay, then we are adding the total amount plus the interest. We are adding the amount that the user is depositing plus the interest that we have already calculated. Then now for the total, we need to add the total to our balance. So how do we achieve that? So come here and then we do something like this. So I'll do self.balance. Okay, self.balance. Remember our balance here, account balance. Then we say plus equal to what? Plus equal to total amount. Okay, so the total amount calculated with our interest divided by 100 will now be added to our balance. And then once that is done, we want to print the user the new updated details. So the name, the amount. Okay, so we can say print. Then we now have the string format, and then we can now do something like this here, or like this. We can now do self. Okay, self dot what? Account name. Okay, so the name of the person depositing, then deposited. Okay, deposited. Then we now specify the amount that the person deposited. So remember amount, so it's a local variable. Then the current balance, so can I say current balance, okay, and then we specify self dot what? Balance. All right, so with this we can now create an object of our, let's go and modify the object of our account class. Okay, now look at our account class now. So let's run it and see. We still have the same thing. Okay, now what we need to do is we'll now call the method, okay, the deposit method. So remember that this deposit method is in what? Savings account. So we can now call this deposit method on the account object. So we can come here and do account one dot deposit. Okay, deposit, is it deposit? We call it or deposit money. All right, deposit money. So let's call it deposit money. Okay, and then here we can now pass in the amount we want to deposit. So let's say 780,000, and then let's run it and see what we have. Okay, so account object has no attribute deposit money. Okay, so as you can see, we are getting an attribute error. It's saying that account object has no attribute deposit money. So whenever you are implementing polymorphism, you must make sure that your method name must be the same. All right, so the method name must be the same but must not act the same. So here in the account class we are having a method deposit. So let's change it to deposit money. Okay, let's change it to deposit money, and then we'll now come to our account object and also modify it. Okay, so instead of deposit here, we'll now say deposit money. Okay, deposit underscore money here, and then when we now run it, let's test our code, and then the error has gone. Okay, so we can also call, so from here you can understand that even though this deposit money method is not created in the account class, but because it's a polymorphism, it can act anywhere. Okay, so it's the same deposit money but behaving differently everywhere. Okay, so if let's comment this out, and let's comment all of this that we've done here and just get only the balance. Okay, so after calling the deposit money method, let's just get the balance. Okay, let's get the balance. So here I'll cut, and then I'll cut, and then I will run it. Okay, so you can see that this is what it's telling me. So this is a current balance that is returning to us. All right, so this is how the polymorphism work, where you are calling it a method that can be called on any other class or object. Okay, so now let's go to our savings account. So if we come to our savings account, okay, and let's do something. So let's call the method deposit money. So we say savings and we call the deposit money, and then we specify the amount. So say 340, okay, 345,000. Okay, that's 345,000. Thank you so much. This is, in this video I've been able to explain OOP in Python by showing you how to create a class, how to create a constructor, and your attribute using self to reference to your attribute. I've also explained encapsulation, where we are trying to hide the detail of our class, okay, of our attribute and exposing only the necessary one. In this case, we're only exposing the name, while the rest become private and protected. Okay, so this is how encapsulation works in Python. I've also been able to explain toString method, how to create a toString method so that you'll not be having a memory error whenever you run your code. Then I've also explained polymorphism, where you have a method that behave different, one method that behave differently in every class. So if you have any question or you like this video, kindly drop your question in the comment section. I will be able to attend to it and answer you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and turn on the notification bell and hear me when I go out live next. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful